So, Alice, let's get straight to it. Kick us off with the man from the World Economic Forum.
Has to be Klaus Schwab.
Klaus Schwab. Is there only one of him?
There's only one of Klaus Schwab.
Is there?
Yeah.
Do you think he hasn't cloned himself?
I think there's a bit of a prefiguration maybe of him and Darth Vader, or one of those sort of evil Star Wars
he has got that
villains.
look about him, hasn't he?
Absolutely, and there's something he wears which looks rather sinister.
Yes.
Which obviously contributes to why I've decided to nominate him, because I think there's something extremely unsettling about the way in which he
He's
speaks.
clearly a very smart guy, because he sort of invented this World Economic Forum, which didn't exist before.
I mean,
and now everybody thinks he runs the world.
Well, the issue is that the organisation wields so much power when it comes to national governments, and yet there's so little capacity to actually hold them accountable.
Yeah.
So someone like Klaus Schwab, he does affect domestic policy in many countries across Europe. We know that because on the World Economic Forum website, they have the politicians there whom we recognise from
But this is what
Macron
I think is part of his shtick, though. I think this is part of his shtick. He goes, look at this, look at all these people I've got under my control.
But that's the issue is that there's no accountability there. So I don't think we should have any involvement with the World Economic Forum in this country.
Well, so he should go to Loathe Island and just mess it all up then, or pretend that he's in charge.
I would love to see him on Loathe Island.
Because he's got plenty of his former sort of graduates, if you like. You've got Tony Blair, you've got Angela Merkel.
He'd be right at home there.
I'm not sure about Ted Heath or Jeremy Corbyn, but, you know, Kim Jong-un, not really.
It's a bit of a sausage fest on the island, isn't it?
What do you mean?
It's quite a lot of men.
Is that what you mean? Well, there's a lot of women. There's Madonna, there's Charlotte Church, there's Meghan Markle. You know, there's Carol Vorderman. I know that's a bit iffy. Angela Merkel, she's a woman, apparently.
Oh, again,
I mean, although she's from East Germany.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what's your one, then? What's your first suggestion? So you're not nominating a woman. You said there's not enough women.
Yeah, I know. It's because I don't hate women like you, Mike. I'm not a woman hater.
You haven't nominated any women.
I haven't.
So
because I love all women.
Do you?
That's my... Yeah, look at that. I get a round of applause. See, that's how easy it is nowadays. You just say that and then people will just applaud you.
What about India Willoughby?
Sorry?
What about India Willoughby?
Don't know who she is.
Right, OK.
I've got to be honest, I didn't really know who Klaus Schwab was. No. I genuinely did think he was a singer.
He runs the World Economic Forum.
But I don't, what's that do? Like, it's one of these things.
Precisely, that's a good question. What exactly does it do, except for intervene in our affairs?
All right. Well, anyway, tell us who you'd put in.
Unknown capacity.
Vladimir Putin, despot. And do you need an explanation for why Vladimir Putin needs to be put in?
No, but what would he do on the island? Because sometimes you've got to think about, you know, how they would all interact with each other. So would he hang out on his own? Would he form an alliance with Kim Jong-un?
What he'd do is he'd bully
everyone. Would he take
everyone.
a fancy to Carol Vorderman?
No, he'd push everyone around and then start encroaching on everyone's space.
Ah, you see,
and no one would do anything, Mike. Everyone would go, no, it's no, we won't. We're not going to do anything.
Money.
Just
give them money. That's fine.
all he'd do.
All right, Alice, your next one.
Oh, my next one is Guy Verhofstadt. Do you all
Verhofstadt.
remember him?
Still don't know who he is. You just hate Germans. Klaus Schwab.
I did.
Guy Verhofstadt.
Klaus Schwab's Swiss for a start, right? Guy Verhofstadt, I think, is Belgian, isn't he?
I think he's Belgian. Yeah.
So there's no
I have some
Germans in there.
I have some fantastic memories.
Such a European.
The best thing about Guy is that any time I needed to convince anyone against the European Union, I would show them a video of him, and instantly they'd be terrified. And that's what I love about Guy, because actually I think he's the Brexiteers' best weapon.
He is. Every time he showed up anywhere, people were like, I'm sorry, I'm voting Brexit.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
literally.
He was so annoying.
He just opened his mouth and he was...
I don't think he was vegan. He just used to come on and sort of tell us how we should be doing everything.
I think...
And you'd be going, get back on the Eurostar,
Bless
mate.
You
know, stop visiting us unwelcomely. It's not from...
but he was absolutely fantastic, and I think converted many
And I think he's still in the European Parliament even now, isn't he?
I believe so.
He was a bit of a thorn in the side of the Brexit Party when they were there.
Not only that, but also I think there was a concerted effort of his after the vote had taken place to come to Britain specifically to campaign for the second referendum.
I'll tell you who he used to love, the Lib Dems. He used to come and hang out with the Lib Dems all the time. That's enough reason to send him there, isn't it?
Yeah, I've got to admit. But they do love a little, like a homemade prop. Did you see their prop this week? They got an egg timer.
No.
It was so funny. They got a little egg timer. Yeah, Ed Davey, and it's got times running out for the Tories, but it didn't drain as fast as they wanted. So they all just kind of stood there going like, yeah, this will be hilarious in 10 minutes. It was so funny.
It's like the one where he drove a tractor into a load of hay bales and it was supposed to represent the destruction of the government or something, but it was hopeless. Just ridiculous. Anyway, you've gone for a bit of a controversial one.
I have. I cannot wait for the hate. Shakespeare, for the reason of Ed Davies, like needless metaphors and stuff that don't actually mean anything, but you're like, I'm just a genius.
Yeah.
As a person was horrible. Like
What did he do? It was horrible.
He left nothing to Anne Hathaway, the Hollywood actress, left nothing to her, even though she was 4 years ahead of his time.
Did he have anything to leave her?
Loads.
Oh, so what was
he was a very wealthy man.
Was he?
He only left his second best bed to his wife. He used to hoard grain. He was actually prosecuted for hoarding grain at a time when there was a national shortage.
He get on well with Putin then?
Absolutely. He poached deers. He was terrible to poach them.
You're allowed to shoot deer.
No, you weren't then. He was prosecuted for that as
You
well.
weren't then. Rubbish.
What are you saying? You just came on the way here. You just poached a deer?
No, but you are allowed to shoot deer. They are shootable.
Yeah, you can, but legally you're not allowed to. You can do it.
If you've got a licence, you can. Yes, you can. I know people that do it.
But he didn't. But he didn't have a licence.
Huh?
It's like saying.
I mean,
yes,
I think the legal framework in which he was operating was perhaps slightly different from the one today.
I would think so. What about this theory that he didn't write all of his own plays?
Yeah, I don't think.
I do believe it was his wife.
Really?
No, we don't know.
spent no
I think
time
there's
with
so
her
much,
as well.
There's so much
How do you know
mystery
all this?
surrounding him. How can we possibly
Have you been reading some
prosecute
kind
him?
Well, we know. No, yeah, I did read a book about it.
I hate William Shakespeare.
They have this. He's got about like 7 to 10 years where we don't really know what he did. He just went off to London while the plague was going on and just got like drunk and that.
Plague?
Yeah, even when his oldest daughter, who he's like madly in love with, died, he didn't pop home, didn't see the wife. He was like, look, I'm just busy writing plays and stuff. And also, think about Shakespeare.
He was a bad family man, but perhaps he maybe contributed to our culture
No, I don't
to
think
such
he did.
great extent.
Also, Anne Hathaway's
He doesn't deserve
cottage,
to be
right?
condemned
Yeah.
to an
It's
island.
called Anne Hathaway's cottage, isn't it? It's not called William Shakespeare's cottage, so he must have left her that. Hey? Isn't it?
Or she had it before because she was more wealthy than him.
Was she?
He was just
He married her
lover's
for her
son.
money.
She was like 26 when she married him.
Right.
He was like 18. He was punching.
He was.
And it was a shotgun wedding as well.
Was it?
Isn't that fun?
Wow, I didn't know any of this.
But also, like, people...
Doesn't make him a bad guy, though, does it?
I don't know. I think you just have to look at his plays.
Married
they're
an older
not
woman.
interesting.
He married an older woman, he shot some deer, and...
I think he's starting to sound like a bit of a hero.
He is.
Yeah.
He's like the Andrew Tate of his time. Isn't he? And he's slightly better writer.
But I don't
I think
know.
that's so cruel to Shakespeare.
It's probably so. I mean,
To poor
say
Andrew
that,
Tate,
right.
I think.
he's meant to be an icon of British sort of history.
Right, honestly, I remember...
Are you going to tell me that you don't like any Shakespeare plays?
Some of them are all right, but they need more car
What about
chases and
Romeo
stuff.
and Juliet?
It's
Car
all right.
chases.
It's all...
Well, whenever they modernise it up, it's always awful.
I don't know,
they've
the
done it to
Baz
Romeo and
Luhrmann's
Juliet,
all
haven't they?
right.
Leonardo DiCaprio was in one, wasn't he?
Honestly,
He
mate,
was fine.
the nearest I've ever wanted to kill someone is I remember when we were kids, we went to the theatre and people were like, it was like Henry VIII Part 2 or something, Henry V.
Henry VIII Part 2. I'm not sure you were at the right place. You know, Henry VIII is there, by the way.
Whatever,
He's on Loathe Island.
That was also another thing. Like, he used to suck up to kings and queens and go, I prefer you to the other one, loads. But people just sit in the theatre and go, ha, 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 and you're like, this isn't
But
funny.
that's what they do now.
Yeah.
They
So
still
kill
do
those
it.
people as well. They're on the island.
Everybody goes to the theatre. Most of them don't understand why they're there. But they all convince themselves that they're very clever people and they're only there because they're clever. And they can appreciate it, even though they don't really understand it.
I went to the theatre for
And
one
they would
act.
never-
the
they
other
would
day.
never
Like,
admit that.
that's so cruel.
No, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
People don't like theatre generally is terrible.
Right.
Like you know, sort of Netflix is better, isn't it? I went to the National the other day.
Did you?
Walked out at half
Super.
time.
What did you go to see?
Wasn't very good. It was. Well, I don't want to say what it was now.
Why
but it was
not?
terrible. It was called Dear Octopus, but didn't want to say that.
Why did you go?
It looked quite good. It was all about aging. Like the idea is quite cool about like aging and stuff. But it was like Big Brother, but no one swore.
Right.
And like no one punched each other either. And it was very upper middle class. It was like, like the main character was called Tarquin, I think, or something like that. And it was like, and it was set before the First World War, and it was all very jolly hockey sticks. And
Bit Brideshead.
I love Tarquin as a
Yeah.
name, but I like Tiberius slightly more.
Tiberius, there we are.
Tiberius.
Which
And
brings us on
very
nicely to your next one.
Emperor Nero,
Yes.
who, according to Suetonius, was an evil man, and we know he killed his mother. Rome burnt down in AD 64, which is
Was that his
attributed
fault
to
as well?
him. Have you ever watched the wonderful 1952 film of Emperor Nero?
No.
So
No, but
fantastic.
why have you?
1952.
I'm a
I wasn't
big
even
fan.
alive.
But it's called Quo Vadis, and it's like my favourite film ever.
Okay. There's a restaurant in Soho called Quo Vadis.
And
Quite
it's
good.
so good. It just
We used to have
portrayed,
mirror Christmas parties there. All great, all sorts of
Emperor
havoc.
Nero is played by
Did you all die at
Peter
the end?
Ustinov.
No, we set fire to it, burned it down. So, no, we didn't,
That
we didn't do
film
that.
is great. That film is great, and it does show the Emperor in all his
But do you admire him for being evil then?
glory. I mean, it's... do I admire him being evil? I mean, he burnt down Rome,
Right.
blamed it on the Christians.
How did he start the fire? Because it was all stone,
killed
wasn't
nearly
it?
everyone around him.
Right.
But there's something kind of mad
Didn't
about
he
his
fiddle
genius.
while it burned?
Absolutely, he has this
Was that his
wonderful
thing?
song.
Really? Was that him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he
watching
play the
Rome
violin?
burn. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like...
Actually, probably the lyre.
He also, isn't this terrible? He used to get Christians, dunk them in tar, and then set them on fire.
Yeah, he was.
And that's where we get
truly
Roman
cruel.
candles from.
What? Is it?
Nah, it's not.
No,
But like,
that
it's
sounds a
a
bit
good joke
suspicious.
off the top.
But
Yeah, it's good. I
he
believed it.
he used to take them to the Colosseum
Right.
and have them.
And so what happened after Rome burnt
martyred.
down then? What happened
So
then?
he had this big building program
Right.
in which he made
Started a coffee
this-
chain.
He rebuilt it.
He made his incredible house called Domus Aurea,
Yeah.
the Golden House, which famously.
He's like the Donald Trump of ancient Rome, isn't he?
Yeah, basically, well, yeah, and his house is like as incredible as Versailles. He poured all his money into rebuilding his house.
Yeah, like
and,
Mar-a-Lago.
and I mean, it's very suspicious, the burning down of Rome.
Yeah.
Nero's incredible palace.
You'd
built
want to be careful of him
thereafter.
on Loathe Island, wouldn't you? Because if you saw him, it's a box of matches, you'd be like, put those down now,
time.
immediately.
Yeah.
There's a lot of trees around here.
And you've got to be careful if you're religious.
Because you start,
in
look
any
at
way.
the foliage. I mean, if you started a fire over there where the heavy greenery is, I mean, that would be the end of you.
I'm not going to lie, Mike. I want to go to Loathe Island. This is better. Like,
Yeah, but this
I
is the
go to
point.
Portsmouth on holiday. This
Well,
is
really?
much better. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Lovely
I'm not
Warner
surprised.
Holidays
I've
part
been
there.
to Portsmouth. I mean, I can't imagine anything worse. I once did a show there in the Guildhall, right? Came out, and I've never seen anything like it. It was about 11:30 at night on I think it was a Saturday night, and it was like something out of Sodom and Gomorrah. It was literally horrendous. People falling down drunk, fighting each other.
Yeah.
I mean, and we were
terrifying.
just standing there, just
Bring on
watching it
Loathe
all
Island.
go by. But
A lot of
the
squaddies
thing about
as
Loathe
well,
Island,
and they
though,
can fight.
the thing about Loathe Island, and Emperor Nero might get on quite well with Prince Andrew, I think. What do you
I
think?
think he'd get on with quite a few people here,
Yeah.
in fact. Maybe Klaus Schwab as well. But actually, compared to the rest
Liz
of them,
Truss, maybe.
Emperor Nero is actually quite is a degree
Yeah.
higher than I think
And-
most.
Yes, I think he is, but he might have to sort of, because there's quite a bit of royalty here now. Mary I is in Henry VIII, and so we might have to worry about that. But the thing about Loathe Island, it looks great, but as soon as you get there, you regret it because there's so many horrible people there.
Yeah.
And William Shakespeare.
And will
Who
you,
might,
I think.
might read you a sonnet around the campfire.
But those are the sort of people that be impressed by that. He would say anything of like, your eyes doth look like a lion's testicles, and they go,
Yes.
oh, he's so
Emperor
prophetic.
Nero would have loved that because
Yeah.
he had this little entourage of sycophants who just adore him and praise
Yeah.
him with everything he did.
Absolutely. I like your
yeah.
last one, though.
Thank you.
Particularly because of this week.
More
when,
topical.
Yeah, go on.
Banksy.
Banksy, yeah.
Got to go in. I think
Absolutely.
Loathe is quite strong, but it really made me laugh this week that he basically threw some paint against the
Yeah.
wall, and everyone was like, "Oh my
And
god, that's
everyone went,
amazing!"
the same
and
as
then
the theatre
someone
crowd.
chucked
And then-
some more
yeah.
paint, and it's that's terrible, and you're like, "Brilliant."
I actually said somebody from Just Stop Oil should come along and throw some paint over it.
Yeah.
Because it was meant to be a depiction of Just Stop Oil, wasn't it? With their little power gun. But yeah.
It was meant to be a depiction of Just Stop Oil.
Yeah, well, it was meant to be about the planet generally, but at the bottom left of the greenery that was sprayed all over the wall was somebody standing there with like a power hose, which was meant to
Right.
depict, the climate activists.
right.
So, I mean, it had everything, that story. Even Jeremy Corbyn walked past and said it looked great.
I
And
saw
it
that.
showed us how we could rejuvenate the landscape. And it was like, what
Wow.
are you talking about, you silly old fool?
This is what annoys me. I used to pretend I liked modern art, but then I grew up.
Yeah.
And it's like...
Again, it's the same people talking absolute garbage,
Yeah.
pretending they know what they're doing, and they don't.
Yeah.
And then the richer they get, the more they buy it.
Yeah.
know.
Which that doesn't. I mean, a fool and his money are parted easily. Aren't
True.
They? You know what I mean? And I don't mind that so much. But what does worry me is people trying to find this kind of like metaphysical reason. He just chucked some paint on a wall, mate.
Yeah. Well, maybe,
all it is.
and maybe
It
he
needs to
didn't
be
even
said.
do it. Maybe he did somebody else.
No one knows who he is.
No, and maybe
Which
he got
is
somebody
mad.
else.
I'm wondering how on earth can they actually quantify it?
I honestly don't know.
You only know it's him if he claims that he did it. So he could literally claim anything.
But then he could go around and go, by the way, you know, like any painting.
Yeah, that was
you
me.
can have, like the Sistine Chapel, did it, mate? You know what I mean? It's mad.
Exactly right. You know, my daughter went around the Sistine Chapel and she came all the way out the other end and she looked up at the guards who were outside, you know, the very fancy dressed Roman guards and said, "Excuse me, where's the Sistine Chapel?" Because she talks like that. And he went, "It's back that way." And she went, "Oh." And she'd managed to walk all the way through it without seeing it.
Oh,
she hadn't
it's
looked
terrible.
Up. She didn't look up.
It's terrible and tiny, and you go through, and they're all like, "Keep moving, keep moving." So I saw
The Italians are quite scary, I have to say.
5 gift shops, not a single priest. That shows you the kind of like the centre of Catholicism.
No, I'm sorry. As a Catholic, I disagree profoundly.
All right. Well,
with my experience?
Haven't got time for any holy war, by the way. You know, I'm afraid we've got to get on with the next thing. Anyway, thank you very much indeed, Alex Grant, Dave Chawner. We have put in now, added to the list, Klaus Schwab, Vladimir Putin, Guy Verhofstadt, William Shakespeare, Emperor Nero, and Banksy. Spot the odd one out.